Hey, what's up guys? I'm Mel from FortinAmps, and in this video, we're going over Stay Metal Ray's presets for high gain. Alright guys, so in this video, Stay Metal Ray sent me a few presets for Fortin Nameless and Kali. And if you want to download them, links are in the description. Also in this video, I got to interview Ray on his philosophy on tone and how he dialed in these presets. So, without further ado, let's jump into that interview and let's check out the tones. Alright, so we're back here again with Stay Metal Ray, and we've got a few presets from him. How's it going, Ray?
Dude, what's up, man? Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing very well. Anytime I have the ability to work with you and or Fortin, that's like, I get legitimately extremely excited to do so. So I am doing awesome, man. Thank you so much for having me. How are you today? That's the better question.
It's been super hectic for me as well. So I feel that.
Well, no worries, man. We're here now. We're here, just to hang out, have some fun. So I'm ready to start diving in whenever you are, sir.
I know that we've been giving a lot of love to Kali as of recent on the socials. So let's hear that Nameless.
Sure, man. So this is just one of the presets that I made. I made one for 6 strings. This is tuned to drop D, my Les Paul, and this is what it sounds like, just real quick. How you like that?
That's sick. That pinch is gnarly.
Thanks, man. It's like the only that's like I'm not very good at anything on the guitar. I'm like average at everything, but pinch harmonics is like my bread and butter. The pinch harmonics is like the only thing I'm like, all right, I'm actually kind of good at that. So I milk that, till there's no tomorrow, man. Like
You've got the sauce.
Thanks, man. I feel like Zach Wild. You know what I mean? I'm trying.
Wilding out.
Yeah, right. But the preset I came up with, man, like straight up, like a lot of people who like watch my channel or follow me on all my social media or whatever, like they know like I'm not a big tweaker, I'm not a big tone chaser, tone dialer, but I know what I like, and I kind of just like almost like instill trust into the company, if that makes any sense. Like for example, Fortin like is a powerhouse in the niche genre of music that we like, that is like hard rock, metal, whatever you want to call it. So like if it has the Fortin name on the product, I know it's going to be awesome from the get-go. And it would be like rather egotistical of me, or at least in my opinion, to think like, oh, what I'm going to come up with is something like otherworldly and groundbreaking, and something that, like that's going to be like something that, I came up with something original, completely original. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is like, I kind of just like start with like a stock preset in the plugin suite, for example. And I kind of just tweak it to where like I get a little bit more gain than most people generally like, a little bit more top end, and just try to make it scream. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like my end goal. I also always have I don't care, no matter what amplifier in the real world or plugin world, I always have to have some pedal in front of it. It just, I don't know, it's just like my thing. It's just fun to do it. You know what I mean? Like I know that Namelessly, like you certainly don't need like a grind or a hex drive or whatever in front of it, but like I like to do that, so I'm going to do it regardless. So like that's just kind of like my philosophy. Just make it scream, a little bit of high end, and like I'm good to go. You know what I mean?
So I noticed that you used, since you brought up pedals, let's start with that.
Sure.
So I noticed that you used the hex drive over the grind. Can you tell me why you chose the hex drive over the grind in this situation? It says 6-string rhythm, so I'm pretty sure that had something to do with it.
Yeah. So with the 6-string, again, when I play 6 strings, I very rarely play in anything other than standard tuning, drop D or drop C sharp. I really kind of just like to stay like a little bit in the higher register. And I leave the lower registers for like 7 strings or, even baritones, whatever. So my point is, I think a drop, we'll just call it drop D. A drop D guitar sounds really good with an overdrive, with a little bit more gain, a little bit more saturation, as opposed to a boost pedal like the grind, for example, or the 33, another Fortin pedal in the analog world. I just think it just sounds better with an overdrive, that extra distortion, extra saturation, not too much, but enough to where it's a different vibe. It's more of like it's not as with like a grind, for example, it's much more like direct, much more low end, getting chopped off. and that has its applications. But when you're in like a higher tuned guitar, there's not that much low end to begin with, just with the nature of the wavelength of the strings. So you don't need to chop out low end that doesn't need to be chopped off. So to combat that, I like a distortion, or an overdrive, a distortion type of vibe on a 6-string, because it creates a different character. It's not as of a gent modern metal tone. It's a little bit more of like it's like a combination of like metal mixed with like my roots, which is like classic rock. It's like a nice happy medium for me to like find that middle ground where like it sounds heavy, it sounds sick, but it still certainly has the characteristics of like, I don't know, like the roots of like where I came from, if that makes any sense at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. And to get a little like guitar nerdy with it, you know, like since an overdrive like technically like compresses your signal, you get a far more consistent tone. Like, and I'm not saying that the grind is inconsistent. Like, it's built for more dynamic playing. So if you're
I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're doing like lead work and stuff like that, and just doing like a bunch of riffy chugs, the hex drive like keeps it all like focused. And
right. Yeah,
that totally makes sense why you picked that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Sorry to cut you off. I just get excited. I like to talk about this stuff. Yeah. So like, I agree in that sense. Like with the hex drive, for example, like this guitar is stock pickups, stock Gibson pickups. In the context of metal, not a lot of output. They're not Fishmans or EMGs. So I don't like dynamics because I'm a metal player. I don't play with dynamics. I'm on full blast all the time.
Yeah.
So to get me to where I need to be, I like you saw on the pedal, crank the volume up, compress the signal a little bit. I'm totally fine with that because like I'm not rolling off the volume. I'm not playing like little, cheeky little, I'm full blast all the time. So like I like the compression because it honestly allows my right hand to like not have to dig in so hard to get the guitar to speak. The rig's doing it for me. The hex drive, for example, is doing it for me. So like it's just my job as a performer, as a player, as an artist, if I could be so bold to use that word.
No, you're nice.
Thanks, man. To some people, maybe. But you know what I mean? Like I think the rig is doing the legwork. It's just my job to perform and hit the right notes, I guess. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of metal players, and there's nothing, again, nobody's right or wrong. It's totally opinion based and style based. But I know a lot of players like to dig in. They have a heavy right hand. They like to chug with the right hand. That's not me. I'm like the opposite. I have a very soft touch, and I let the rig do that. I let the rig do the legwork, and it's just up to me to just kind of like control it. I'm like doing the opposite, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of people with like good lead playing or like a lot of what's called, depending on like their articulation and style and where they're coming from, they have like a light right hand that's very precise versus like a guy like me who's like comes from drumming, just beats the death out of his guitar.
Yeah. Your right hand is like your snare equivalent or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Just going for it. Yeah, dude. Like I completely agree with that, and I want the. It's almost like I put value and trust into the pedal and the Fortin name to like it's gonna sound killer.
Yeah,
it's just my job to just play correctly, if that makes any sense.
No, that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
What's it called? A lot of people say the tone is in the hand, and if like you ain't playing right, then no matter what you do, no matter how expensive your rig is, there's no way that you can make like you can have like a $20,000 rig, and if you still can't fret and chug and hit the strings with love, it's not going to come out.
Well, to caveat off that, one of my guitar heroes, I think everybody's guitar hero, Eddie Van Halen, he built his guitar out of, essentially seconds and parts. So he didn't have the $20,000 rig, but he was still able to make it talk and scream. Was it his rig doing that? Was it him doing that? I think it was a combination of the two. I'm not Eddie Van Halen, but I do have a certain technique, and my technique and what's in my fingers, my tone, if you will, complements with the hex drive, for example, when I'm in a higher tuned register, aka drop D. You know,
Yeah.
it's funny. Drop D is higher register nowadays. That's like that's like soft rock nowadays.
I got put down for going E flat, like covering Green Day when I was starting off.
Oh man, wow, yeah, wow, you're really adventurous going all the way down.
Really adventurous. All right, so I was curious. So you had the tone straight up at 12 o'clock here in the hex drive.
Yes.
So do you think that has anything to do with the guitars that you're playing, or is that just something that you feel like you're getting the brightness out of your amp, or where'd you kind of like tell me your thoughts on that?
You know what? Honestly, dude, like I just with the Nameless suite, just in my opinion, has a lot of clank and clarity, and like that's the beast of this suite. Like I think that's what is so attractive to it. So like with the tone's just dead at noon for me because like I genuinely don't ever really, how do I say this? When I need to, like, let's say I need to make the guitar brighter or my sound brighter, I very rarely ever grab the tone knob on the pedal. I'll just grab the amp or I'll EQ it, or you know what I mean? Like, you know, I feel like there's so many other different variables in a rig that you can alter your sound, you know, speaker cabinet, speaker, microphone placement, et cetera, et cetera. So the tone knob for me is just kind of like, I don't know, I'll be straight up, man. Like if there was no tone knob, I'd be content with that. I need that compression, that saturation, that screaming. I keep saying this word, make it scream, make that scream factor. That's the only reason why I need the pedal. If there was no ability to shape the tone, I would not care in the least bit. So it's at dead noon because honestly, like I don't really mess with it. There's other things that I can mess with to get to the end result. And like I said, I'm not a big tweaker and I'm not super picky. I'm particular, but I'm not picky. And I think there's a difference. The pedal's not there to shape and sculpt my frequencies. It's there to just give me a little extra, you know, a little whatever this is. You know what I mean? A little bit more of that. That's what I use the pedal for.
Let's hear some chugs again because I want to see how that thing's like screams or rather the beef behind it.
All right, put me on the spot, man. Yeah, all right, so.
Yeah, it's huge, man.
Not bad.
It's huge. So I guess the only question, because you said you went from the default tone and then you did a little bit of minor adjustments just to get your guitar to scream, right?
Yeah.
So going off that, the biggest difference that I saw from the default to the 6-string rhythm is that you kind of like pulled that presence all the way down. And I think you mentioned earlier that the Nameless is a bit bright. Did that have anything to do with that, or just tell me your method?
That's exactly it. In my opinion, I don't know if there's any weight to what I'm about to say, but the Nameless suite for me is originally designed for like lower tunings and 8 strings and low tuned 7 strings. That's just my opinion. I don't know if that's true, but that's just like how it's perceived to me as a fan and a consumer. So the brightness with lower tunings is great because the heavier the string gauge, the more the frequencies build up, the slower the vibration of the string, the more low end's going to be built. So to answer your question, because again I'm on 6 strings, drop D, I don't need a lot of brightness. Brightness is not my issue here. It's like it's like the contrary. Like it's already kind of inherently bright because we're higher pitched. So yeah, I just took that presence knob and like I can't remember where it was on the default, but I just kept going before like I was at 0. And it's like, you know what? It doesn't sound dark, doesn't sound dull, doesn't sound muddy. It's just the presence just wasn't,
you didn't need that extra hype, right?
Yeah. Like I was creating a tone that was geared towards, like I said, kind of like my roots, but like with an extra kick. Just it's not a genty tone. It's like a rock slash hard rock slash metal tone. I just don't need the clank for a Les Paul. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. I don't need any clank necessarily. So my tunings would be standard tuning, drop D, drop C sharp.
Oh, okay.
Like I really don't ever play, as I get older and I go on this journey I'm on, I really don't play anything with my own material lower than like drop C sharp. I do dabble in drop B, for those of you who know me. You have to you can put two and two together. But, honestly, like when it's my turn to create, when it's my turn to do something that I want to do from my own brain, those are just standard tuning, drop D, drop C sharp on a 6-string. That's home for me. So that's where my mentality, my philosophy was when I was creating these tones.
Nice. And you said you were pretty traditional with the default sim, so you didn't really touch anything on the speaker placement, did you? The mic placement. I honestly,
let's put it this way. If I did, it wasn't enough to be like, oh, I remember vividly doing this. I might have changed out, a microphone. I don't know. But I really did. The only thing that matters to me is just adding something in the front and just like a little bit of high end, but not like too much high end. Because does that answer your question? Like, totally. I don't think I really even mess with the speaker. Yeah.
No, if it was great where it was at, then it was.
And
good.
Again, that's what I'm saying. Like the Fortin and Neural DSP, they created this thing out of nothing. It'd be really arrogant of me to be like, all right, that was all, all well and good. Now it's my turn. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, come on, man. Like, it's already going to be sick. Don't fluff your own feathers too much. It's going to be great.
If it ain't broken,
it's going to be great. Just start playing. You know what I mean? That's just kind of my philosophy.
Hey, what's up? Editor Mel here, just letting you guys know that this is a part of 4 presets that we broke down with Ray. So now that we've heard Ray break down the Nameless preset with me, let's check it out in a full mix. Alright, so there you have it, guys. That's the Mel Ray performing with his presets. If you digged it, links are in the description. And if you liked Stay Mel Ray, please go check out his channel. He's a phenomenal YouTuber, phenomenal guitarist, and I always have a great time working with him. If you guys dug this video, please hit the thumbs up button, ring the bell for notifications, sub to the channel if you haven't already, and let us know in the comment section below which guitarist you want us to make some presets with next. Again, I'm Mel from FortinAmps, and I'll catch you on the next one.